In an incredible showdown of two of college basketball's best coaches, Tom Izzo's Michigan State team was a decided underdog against a Duke team with potentially 3 lottery picks on their roster, plus another NBA player at the point guard position. And we got a game for the ages, one that went down to the wire, filled with lots of explosions of talent, but one that came down to coaching. Zion Williamson is the undisputed #1 draft pick this summer, and he's been overwhelming during the tournament. Let's take a quick look at his free throw form, since everyone is wondering how well his shooting will translate to the next level. The first thing to notice is his poor rhythm, his arms moving up too early. Here, they're synced to when he begins to bend his legs. The legs should start bending before the arms come up. This will create a 2-motion shot and dissipate any energy the knee bend might have created. You can see his legs straighten before he begins to straighten the arm for the release. No energy transfer. And finally, his left elbow does not move in the upward direction at all, so he's basically throwing this shot at the rim. I'm actually impressed he shot as high as 64% during the year, but unsurprisingly, under the pressure of the tournament, his percentage has plummeted to 47%. Duke had a little trouble with their transition defense, and by the time you're in the Elite 8, you cannot have mistakes like this after a made free throw. Lack of effort and awareness of ball and man leads to a surprising tomahawk dunk. At this point of the season, it's hard to fathom a team would struggle to simply get back and pick up a man, but after this good curl gets them a layup, watch Michigan State inbound it quickly and catch Bolden, not realizing he has to pick up the wing, and Zion needs to sprint a lot faster to cover Tillman. As a result, the Spartans nail a wide-open 3. And again, after a free throw in the second half, Bolden is lost in the middle of the court, forcing Cam Reddish to sprint across the whole floor to pick up the ball. Bolden is still lost as Goins is wide open under the hoop. Can you hear me shaking my head? That's 7 points for nothing, and it makes the Dukies look like a poorly coached team. But there were some positives to the Duke defense in the first half, and it was an interesting contrast to Michigan State, in particular, the way they each defend the pick and roll. The Spartans played the pick and roll with a high hedge, very old school, and I simply don't think it's a viable strategy in today's game. Watch how the ball screener's defender steps up towards the ball and gets higher than his man. This allows the roll man to get to the basket first, forcing a major rotation that doesn't even matter. On this possession, you'll see a Duke offense running the Princeton Chin series, triggered by a handoff to the wing, then a guard-to-guard pass, followed by a backdoor screen. However, the screen isn't set, the spacing on the weak side is very poor, and Duke can't get anything going. There is a lot of confusion on Duke's part, no one sure where to go or how to attack. They finally set an inside ball screen for Zion. Check Coach Izzo with both feet on the court below the hash mark. I'm sorry, but this is ridiculous and should have been stopped. Notice how hedging an inside pick and roll leaves no basket protection, and when Williamson rejects the screen, there ain't no way to stop this, folks. On the flip side, Duke would switch their pick and rolls, which almost causes a steal on the pop. Now, the offense is completely stymied and grinds to a halt. Miscommunication on what Zion expected to be a switch does give up an opening, but good recovery to contest the miss. This time, we see a quick hedge, but the ball handler's man jumps back into position, so on the rescreen, they hedge and chase. Because of the great pressure being put in the ball, he can't make the pass to the open roll man. They rotate the weak side to touch him until his defender can sprint back. This again gets the Spartans out of position and role players having to create shots, which they can hit under pressure. The hedge and chase into double team backfires later when Zion Williamson forgets he's the weak side player that needs to rotate to the top. That gives the Spartan a wide open 3 and keeps them close. In the second half, the Blue Devils decided to hedge pick and roll, and even with poor spacing on the strong side, they catch Cam Reddish completely asleep on his rotation, allowing the ball screener to slip and just dunk it. The bottom line is, you're going to be in trouble if you consistently allow ball handlers to use the wing ball screen to the middle. They hedge with the roll man's defender, and even though the rest of the defense rotated, it's virtually impossible to stop when you allow the middle. I also got the sense Duke had a hard time figuring out how to use Zion in their offense. Here, they have him set a ball screen and roll to the hoop. This forced a switch, and just watch him muscle the weaker Spartan out of the way, grab the offensive rebound, and muscle this thing back into the hoop with touch. But turnovers simply killed the Blue Devils. They committed 17 to only 7 by the Spartans, and even though they got the mismatch on the switch here, it's a bad angle to throw a lob, it's terribly thrown anyway, and Michigan State takes another scoring opportunity away from Duke and Zion. They try to run that same pick and roll but spot up Zion out top. This is a good idea, which lets him isolate off of some movement, but great defense makes him throw up an awkward shot, and they can't get the putback to go either. Now, Cassius Winston is at it, pushing the ball, never letting Jones get back in position, and hitting the little 15-footer in transition. I'm not sure why they continually posted up Zion in the left block with the left corner filled. It felt awfully crowded in there, and then the weak side big comes over to the strong side as well. But no matter, Zion attacks and draws the foul. My favorite action they run for him has got to be just putting him at the high post, letting him face up, and isoing on his man. One dribble away from the hoop, there is virtually nothing to do to stop him. They'll throw him in the weak side corner too, where he was decent from behind the line. And check the perils of allowing middle on the pick and roll here. The big man hedges high, forcing the lowest guy in the weak side to stay in the paint to watch the roll. The skip pass finds Zion so open, he can take his time with that really slow release, and the defense still won't get there in time. On this possession, they put him in the strong side corner while they run the inside ball screen. Zion's man bumps the roll man and is then late closing out. Watch Cassius Winston though. He's going to hide behind Bolden until Zion tries to pass. Boom, it's a steal and another costly turnover for Duke. Cassius Winston capped off a brilliant first half by winding the clock down, just blowing by Jones, and while I understand that Barrett was wary of leaving his man in the corner, it's simply his job to rotate to stop the ball, and Bolden would have had to rotate to Barrett's man in the corner. That doesn't happen, and Winston extends the lead. The intensity during this game could be felt even through the screen, but imagine being there in the arena to witness Zion in person or Coach Izzo passionately leading his troops from his seat close to the basket. That's where SeatGeek comes in. Their mobile app scours the internet for the best prices and tickets to sporting events, concerts, or the theater. Just like you rate Zion's dunks, SeatGeek will rate the price and let you know if you're getting a good deal. And right now, you can save $20 off your first purchase by using my code BBall at checkout. So don't forget the best place to go for tickets, SeatGeek. Let's go! Remember Duke's attempt to run Princeton offense earlier? Well, out of the halftime timeout, Izzo has his team run it, and check what happens when you execute the little things, like the back screen here, a beautiful alley-oop and a jolt of energy to start the half. Later in the half, they try again to post up Zion with the strong side corner filled and Bolden at the free throw line. Terrible spacing, allowing an easy double team that forces the miss. They try the same alignment again and the lob is overthrown into a turnover. However, check Tillman grabbing Williamson's jersey. Not sure how the ref missed that one. Just getting it to Zion in the post proved too difficult for Duke, as they refused to adjust and kept banging their heads into a wall. Oh, and check another jersey hold that kept Zion earthbound. Why are the refs out there if they're not going to see or call this? To make matters worse, it sparks a fast break, and Tillman, the jersey grabber, is down the court in a hurry, throwing down a thunderous dunk to extend their slim lead. And it was like they were shell-shocked or traumatized by having to continue running this same play. And at least this time, Tillman didn't have to hold Zion's jersey to get the steal of a poorly thrown lob. Michigan State struggled to score buckets in the second half as well, in the face of a very energetic defense by Duke. Jones blows up the pin down to Winston, forcing him to improvise. Well-defended pick and roll keeps Cassius way above the three-point line. Jones does well to keep in front, but Winston reminds me of Sam Cassell, a savvy guard who just somehow finds a way, with the barely jumping, high-arcing floater over two Duke defenders. At this point, Michigan State was now switching everything, so watch how Duke forces a switch on the pick and roll. Problem is, this matchup isn't an advantage for them. Barrett figures it out and hands off to Zion, who just creates a beauty of a drive out of nothing, and Duke is up 3. The Spartans run their own high pick and roll. Zion is sleeping for a step before hustling up there, and this is excellent defense by Jones to keep his man in front. But Winston is a gamer. He sucks Bolden in to contest the shot, then throws this perfect lob for Tillman to lay in and cut the lead to 1. Again, Duke doesn't seem to recognize how to force the right switch for the advantageous mismatch. At 6'7" and athletic, Goins isn't the guy they want Barrett attacking. They do the same handoff to Zion, and he says, I don't think this is a mismatch either. Goins again switches back onto Barrett, and this time, the senior takes his lunch and his cookies, getting a crucial stop. Here's where Coach Izzo earned his paycheck. Out of the timeout, they run a high post entry with a strong side backdoor cut, which is all just a decoy. What they're looking for is the pin down on the weak side for your friend and mine, Kenny Goins. Zion expects Jones to switch, Jones just sticks to Winston, and Goins is checking the wind with his thumb. He's so wide open. A huge miscommunication on defense, and this will prove costly, folks. Down 2 out of a timeout, the Duke Blue Devils run, well, they started to run that same left block post up for Zion, but he quickly vacates his position, and this leaves Duke with Zion waiting for an inside ball screen on the left wing. Problem is, it would make him go to his right, and he clearly is uncomfortable going that direction, and he gives it up. Duke does catch Goins 2 steps too far towards the ball, and it left Barrett with a great look. It's woefully short, but the ball ends up out of bounds off of Michigan State. One last chance for Coach K to draw up some of that magic out of bounds stuff. Duke starts in a very basic box. They try to set a cross screen for Zion going away from the ball. Check how easily Barrett is pushed off his path, so he can't even set the screen. So all they're left with is a desperate pass to the corner to him, and he turns the corner, gets into the paint, absorbs the contact, and gets the free throws that can tie the game. Unfortunately, he's a 67% free throw shooter, and the first one clanks off the back iron. He makes the second, but in the cruel twist of fate, Duke has only committed 3 team fouls. Without any timeouts, their only hope is to somehow commit 4 more fouls in 5 seconds. And they never get the chance, as Cassius Winston cuts down court, his man was in poor position, and he's allowed to run out the clock, leaving Duke fans wondering how it's possible they couldn't get farther with so much talent, and Michigan State gets to its 8th Final Four under Tom Izzo by winning the game with toughness, intelligence, and better coaching. Oh, hey, good to see everybody. Thanks for watching this video. If you made it this far, then I've got something really special for you. A free video that you can only get by clicking on the link below. It'll break down my 3 favorite actions, and I guarantee you'll love it. So what are you waiting for? I'll see you on the other side of that link. Don't forget to subscribe to BBallBreakdown and adjust your settings so you'll get notified right away. You in?